Okay, I am in North Carolina. I am at the National Park, the Battle of Guilford Courthouse. Now, there's a lot of things noted about this battlefield, but behind me, it might be a little hard to see. It's trying to hold my phone the right way, but there was a giant, so to speak. His name is Peter Francisco. His name is up here at the top, Peter Francisco, a giant in stature, might, and courage, who slew in this engagement 11 of the enemy with his own broadsword. Broadsword? What in the world? Now, just to clear a few things up, Peter Francisco is a real person from the American Revolution. He's actually noted for a couple remarkable moments. There's a battle in Camden in South Carolina where he actually was alleged to pick up a cannon and carry this cannon hundreds and hundreds of pounds. A lot of really cool things about him. Now, what is worth noting from a historical standpoint, there's not a lot of historic record of what he actually did during the battles. There's a lot of stories told about him, not a lot of historic record, even though we do know he was a real person. Even this idea where with his broadsword, he killed 11 people. Well, there is a report that he wrote from a Colonel William Washington, George Washington's cousin, I think is the way the report goes, that he, in front of Colonel Washington, killed 4 people himself. And so some people said he killed 4, he killed 11. There's speculation. But here's what I want to maybe bring better attention to. I'm standing in front of a monument that's largely known as the Peter Francisco Monument. It's a cavalry monument from back in that battle. And we've gone through an era where we've seen people tear down statues and monuments of noted, celebrated Americans who did incredible things. Peter Francisco, even though there might be some speculation or doubt historically to what all he did, to how much he did, it's fascinating to me that even if people wanted to argue, well, some of what he did, like killing 11 British soldiers with a broadsword, and the dude was 6.5 feet tall, which was a giant back then. Not a giant for us, but back then would have been massive when the average height was 5'4" to 5'8" in the American Revolution. So you have this huge dude, renowned feats of strength, has a broadsword. What? This is crazy. And even if some of that is more folklore, is more myth than reality, here's what's interesting. There was a time in American history when we celebrated so much what it meant to be an American, that you had courage and you showed bravery and this independent spirit and what you were willing to do. We cared so much about America and even honoring American heroes that if there was maybe more folklore, whether it's a Davy Crockett, a Daniel Boone, and stories that come out, maybe are larger than life. Some of that is historically unknown and documented with Peter Francisco. But there was a time that we celebrated America so much that we maybe even made up levels of stories about how great these people were. Not that he wasn't real, not that he didn't participate in the American Revolution and maybe have very valuable contributions, but maybe some of those have grown beyond who he actually was. Again, there was a time when celebrating these people was a acknowledgement of how much we loved America and the people that contributed to America and how great these people were. It's a significant contrast from where we are now. But if you go back and even some of these national parks, now you might have to avoid some of the National Park Service, some of their stories. Maybe they don't love America as much as some of us do. But being on the battlefields, having a chance to go back and relearn some of these stories and relearn some of the heroes is pretty remarkable. And if you don't know about Peter Francisco, I'd encourage you, look him up. Even if some of them are myths and legends, his myth and legend is pretty cool.